I tried to end my life, but today I'm standing here to tell you my story. I would hate myself because I hated myself for being angry. I felt completely helpless and I didn't know what to do or where to turn. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about self-improvement, books, mental health and neuroscience. Today I'm gonna be super real and vulnerable with you all. I'm sharing some really personal stuff about my mental health journey. I'm nervous, but I'm determined to do this. I don't care if I get judged or get negative comments because I believe it's time to break the silence around mental health. Millions of people are suffering from mental health issues and I want to reach out to them and let them know that they're not alone. We need to remove the stigma and start talking openly about our struggles. So I'm gonna dive into what it's like living with ADHD and bipolar disorder in India, the good, the bad and the ugly. We'll also discuss the pros and cons of mental health medication. I know many of you might be struggling with severe mental health issues but are hesitant to take medication due to fears about the side effects and the medicine dependency. Today we are going to tackle the question head on. Should you take mental health medication or not? Let's get into it. So today I want to share my entire life story with you all. The struggles that I've been through all my life since childhood. I really want to talk about it and get it off of my chest. So let's take it back to my childhood. I was that kid who would get ridiculously angry and hit my head on the wall. Obviously, I don't remember it, but my parents have told me about it. Anyway, as I grew up, I was a bright student, so nobody suspected I had mental health issues. Plus, in India, mental health awareness is basically non-existent. So we didn't know any better back then. But what I do remember is getting angry over the smallest things. It was like I had a super short fuse. And on the top of that, I had severe social anxiety. I was really into karate. I loved the classes, but I was terrified of the social gatherings that came with it. So I'd bring my mom to the classes and hide somewhere until the last minute just so I wouldn't have to face anyone. It was that bad. It wasn't just being introverted, it was full-blown social anxiety. So I grew up, pursued engineering and made it through some ups and downs. But things took a turn for the worse in 2016 when I graduated and entered the real world. I was clueless about my future and the thought of job interviews terrified me. I was in Kolkata back then and job opportunities were very low over there, which added to my panic. I started experiencing extreme anger issues, severe insomnia, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. Those thoughts consumed me and I wanted to take my own life. There was an instant where my parents were trying to hold me back, so I was trying to remove myself from their grip, but in the struggle, my mom got hurt and broke her finger. And that's the biggest regret of my life. I still get tears when I think of it because the fact that my mom got hurt because of me, although it was not intentional, but still, it haunts me. My parents are everything to me. My parents are my biggest support system. Without them, I would have probably ended my life already. I love my mom dad more than anyone else in the world and I never want to hurt them in any way, but sadly, I ended up hurting them sometimes due to my mental health issues and I always hated myself for that. Sometimes I used to hate myself for the same reason because I hated myself for hurting mom and dad. Yes, I had a bit of self-harm tendency as well. That was the time when I realized that there was something wrong with me. And no, I'm not ashamed to talk about it because there are millions of people who are going through the same thing. Self-harm, suicidal thoughts are not choices. They're symptoms of a mind that's in pain. It's like your own brain is turning against you and it's hell. Instead of frowning upon people who are struggling with mental health issues and suicidal thoughts, we should be supportive towards them. They need help, not hate. Let's give them the love and support they deserve and help them get through the tough times. So I was clueless about what was going on with me. I started Googling my symptoms and that's when I discovered I might have some psychiatric issues. That's when I decided to visit a psychiatrist. My parents have always been super supportive and they took me to the doctor. He prescribed some medicines but they had crazy side effects. I gained 25 kgs and to make matters worse, they weren't even working that well. I was still depressed. but my anger issues did calm down a little bit. However, I felt like a zombie, numb and emotionless. I was sleepy all day, every day. I kept seeing my psychiatrist in Kolkata, but he never changed the medicines. This went on for over 2 years. During that time, I moved to Hyderabad and was still taking those medicines. I got a job, but I would always feel sleepy at work. I'd finish my work real quick and then doze off at my desk. My managers asked me why I felt sleepy all the time, but back then I was ashamed to talk about mental health issues. So I didn't say anything to them. I didn't say that these medicines were making me feel sleepy. Eventually, I realized that these medicines were not working for me. They were actually making my physical health worse. And that made me even more depressed. I felt trapped in this vicious cycle. So I decided to stop taking the medicines on my own without consulting my doctor. I was frustrated because he wasn't making any changes to my treatment plan. But as soon as I stopped the medicines, my anger issues started spiraling out of my control again. I'd get angry at myself, I would get angry at my parents all the time, and then feel guilty afterwards. I felt like it wasn't me. I felt like a monster had taken over my mind whenever I lashed out at them. I didn't want to be angry, but I couldn't help it. I would hate myself because I hated myself for being angry. I felt completely helpless and I didn't know what to do or where to turn. And the worst part was, those suicidal thoughts came flooding back. I felt like ending my life would be better than suffering like this and making my parents suffer as well. That's when I knew I needed to try again. I went to consult with another psychiatrist in Hyderabad, but unfortunately, I didn't click with him either. I kept searching until I found a psychiatrist I felt comfortable with, and I started to take his prescribed medicines. But honestly, I was skeptical at first. My previous experience with the psychiatrist in Kolkata was worst. So I thought all the psychiatrists were the same. They would just ask you to come back every month without making any changes or progress or even without listening to you properly. So I didn't go back to him for follow-ups. Instead, I self-medicated, which was the worst decision ever. I took the prescribed medicines for 2 years and then stopped them again thinking that they weren't working. During that time, my career was a mess. I kept joining and quitting companies, 11 to be exact. I was a classic job hopper, which is a common ADHD behavior, but I didn't know it back then. Since I wasn't well versed in mental health and neurodiversity back then, I thought I was just being flaky. Needless to say, stopping the medicines without consulting my doctor made my anger issues worse than ever. I'm talking about explosive anger. You'll understand if you have watched the movie Silver Linings Playbook. Actually, it has become my all-time favorite movie because I saw myself in the main character's struggles with bipolar disorder. It's the only movie that has made me cry in my entire life.
Wasn't true, it was illusion. It's because I'm,
undiagnosed bipolar.
Yeah.
At that point, I was desperate. I was scared to allopathic treatment again due to my past experiences, so I turned to homeopathy. Although I believe in homeopathy, but honestly, in this case, nothing worked. I felt hopeless and helpless, like I had tried every avenue and I was out of options. I was at my breaking point, feeling like I couldn't suffer anymore and I didn't want my parents to suffer anymore either. My mind felt like my worst enemy and I couldn't see a way out. Desperate for help, I consulted with another psychiatrist who diagnosed me with ADHD, but honestly he sounded a bit rude, so I never took the medicines he prescribed and never went back to him again. Next, I thought of going back to the previous psychiatrist in Hyderabad I had consulted once before. I had taken his prescribed medicines on my own for 2 years after the single consultation, remember? But this time I planned to follow his advice and schedule regular monthly check-ins. However, he had retired from the hospital work and he was only doing online consultations. So in January 2024, when I was feeling my worst, I had an online session with him. He listened to me for more than 2 hours, prescribed me some medicines, but I was scared. I was terrified of starting medicines again, knowing that once I began, I might be on the medications for all my life. I was also worried because I knew these medicines came with some serious side effects. I had gained 25 kgs last time. But then my American friend stepped in, encouraging me to give medicines another shot if I was really struggling. They shared their own experiences, telling me they took medicines too and that it was okay. They reminded me that finding the right doctor and the perfect medication was tough. It's a journey that takes time, but they reassured me it would be worth it once I found the right combo. But I was fed up with trying different doctors and medicines, to be honest. I felt exhausted, but I had no other options left, and my condition was worse. So I decided to start the medicines again. Now, this time, everything changed. I followed my doctor's advice, consulting him every month. He listened to me so attentively, making adjustments to my medicines based on my specific issues. I was dealing with extreme anger, severe insomnia, stress urinary incontinence, and premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is known as PMDD. It was a lot. It was a lot to handle. But slowly, his medicines started making me feel better. After 3-4 months of regular consultations and tweaks to my medicines, I finally found the perfect combination that worked for me. I started taking lithium, divenese, quetiapine and sulpitac, mostly antipsychotics and mood stabilizers, and I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Finally, I felt relieved. Relieved knowing that everything I had gone through my whole life had a reason. It wasn't my fault. It all made sense. Trust me when I say this set of medication has completely changed me and transformed me into a new person. It's been a year that I didn't get any anger issue. I'm sleeping so well. My PMDD and stress urinary incontinence got cured. Everything has changed. I'm so happy. I'm not depressed anymore. Finally, I'm happy. I can say that I'm happy. I'm living my life and I love life. I'm feeling alive finally. And finally, life felt good. I started loving life. I didn't get the urge to end my life anymore. Things finally changed for the better. Life felt good. Although it brought up a few physical health issues like I gained 20 kgs again, my thyroid increased rapidly, but boy, the changes in mental health were worth it all. Mentally, I'm in a really good place right now. I'm trying to get back in shape. I found a new passion for content creation. Woohoo! And honestly, it's been a game changer for me. Making videos and sharing my story is super therapeutic. It's a creative expression that helps me process my emotions and work through tough times. Plus, I love that I can use this platform to raise awareness about mental health. It's an amazing feeling knowing that I might be helping someone out there who's struggling through similar issues. It's a big part of why I'm so dedicated to creating content and sharing my experiences with you all. Even though there are very less views, I know sharing this stuff is risky. It's way too personal and I might get negative comments if it doesn't reach to the right audience. But honestly, I'm willing to take that risk. If my story can help just one person feel less alone, then it's all worth it. Why do I cry all the time? Now, living with ADHD and bipolar in India can be a real challenge. To be honest, it feels like navigating a minefield with no map. Mental health awareness is basically non-existent here. Often we don't even realize we are struggling with these issues, and when we do, we are too ashamed to seek help or speak up. Mental health is super stigmatized in India, and that's why I'm making these videos, to break the stigma and spread awareness. I don't care if I get hate comments. My goal is to reach those who need help. I want to show that it's okay to talk about mental health and you are not alone. So, should you take mental health medication? Look, if your condition is manageable, maybe not. Lifestyle changes might be enough because let's be real, there are side effects and risk of dependency. However, if your condition is severe and out of control like mine was, please seek professional help and consider medication. Yes, it's a process. You'll likely consult multiple doctors and try various medicines before finding what works. But trust me, it's worth it. And you might even experience some side effects, but they can be managed. For example, when I gained weight rapidly due to medication, I consulted an endocrinologist and dietitian to get it under control. Look, it's pretty obvious that our brains are literally the control center of our lives. When something's off, everything else feels off too. Finding a good doctor, finding the right medication, and all that jazz can feel like I'm a lab rat. like I'm being experimented on and I'm not in control. It's as if my brain, my life, everything is being tweaked and adjusted, and it's really unsettling feeling. But here's the thing, when you're calm and composed mentally, you can tackle any challenge that comes your way. So if you're struggling with mental health issues, please seek help and consider medication. And that's my 2 cents on this matter. So please seek professional help and start your medication if you're suffering from mental health issues. That's all I had to say. I hope this video reaches to the right people who need to hear this. I'm sharing my story to help break the stigma around mental health in India, and I want to encourage others to speak up and seek help. Remember, taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. Please don't be afraid to reach out to professionals, friends, family members for support. And please don't give up hope. With the right treatment and support, you can manage your mental health issues and live a happy, fulfilling life. You're enough, you're loved, you deserve to live this life happily. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, then you can check out another video I made about living with ADHD and bipolar and being unemployed and unmarried at the age of 30. The link will be in the description or somewhere here. If you have found this video helpful, then smash the like button, share it with your friends and family, and consider subscribing for more such videos. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you'd like to share your own mental health story, I would love to hear it. That's a wrap. I'll see you in the next video. This is Ananya signing off with a big virtual high five. Keep shining, keep striving, Excelsior.